freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your mega preview pod for this week's Northern Trust absolutely stacked field. Almost as stacked as my refrigerator, which is full of Arnold Palmer Spike. That is where this is presented by. Yes, thank you very much. We've got more on AP Arnold Palmer Spikes coming up later in the show, but certainly has become a go-to drink for me, both on and off the course. The coach is here. Coach, good to have you on a Tuesday.
Well, I heard you say the word stacked, and I thought you were talking about my bad. Great to see you guys.
Kyle Porter is here. KP, good luck following that.
I'm with Coach. I thought you were just leading into me and him being the only ones here, and then I just get upended by the APS, the Arnold Palmer Spike. So
wow.
I don't. Yeah, it was not
Almost
only was it was a great transition, but it was also a great juke. So you're in midseason form.
Yeah, I'm ready for the playoffs. I mean, I got to pay the bills here, gentlemen, but we got playoff action out in front. Thank you. 124 going down to 70. And Coach, we saw the drama last week, right? We saw the drama of Chesson Hadley, Justin Rose, Rory Sabatini trying to get in, Adam Scott trying to get in. Some did better than others, but you can't breathe now, because we've got the same situation this week. The guys who just made it are going to have to go try to make the top 70 now.
It was an amazing week. And for anybody that says the last week stinks because there aren't a ton of big name players in it, they didn't watch the Wyndham. I thought it was incredibly exciting. I thought the playoff was fun. I thought Chesson Hadley had the best interview, not just maybe that we saw in golf this year, but that we've seen in golf for many, many years. That was as raw and as good as interviews you're ever going to see. But now we got to flip the switch, because now he makes it in right on the number. He needed every shot. He needed every one of those hole-in-ones. He needed all of that. A 62. So I don't hear anybody anymore tweet at Kyle or you or me when we say every shot matters, because it literally played out right in front of us. Justin Rose bogeys 18, and he's sitting home for the next 3 weeks. So now, how do you switch that in your mind to say, I got to play ultra aggressive if I'm in that 125 to 70 group, because your week might only be 1 week longer, your season 1 week longer, although there are a lot of bonuses that come with making the top 125. It's exciting. They worked hard for it, and I'm ready for this week.
Yeah, I think, for a lot of these guys that maybe played their way into the top one, let's say you're 110th or you're 103rd or whatever, you're kind of playing with house money, or that's what it feels like, right? So to get to the BMW in the second week would be, that would feel awesome. Like that would be monumental. But to go back to the Chesson Hadley thing, the interviews, I'm curious if you guys have any that just stick out top of your head in terms of the just emotion that he showed. The only other two that I'm thinking of right now, remember Kevin Na at Greenbrier a couple years ago? I think it was Kevin Na. Do you remember
Is that when he did it in Korean as well?
Yeah, and he got like
who was that, Coach?
I thought it was in Vegas when he won in Vegas.
I think he always says something in Korean, but he got really like just emotional during. I think it was after Greenbrier at one point. And then Rory at Portrush whenever he missed the cut there. Those are the two that I can think of that made me feel kind of the same things that I felt after Chesson Hadley talked on Sunday afternoon.
I'm a little shocked that you didn't, and it wasn't as emotional, but when Spieth won last year, this past year, we never see tears from him. We never see emotion from Jordan Spieth. And it kind of flowed out of him. So I thought that was surprising for me when he won after 4 years.
Yeah, that was a good one. He was trying so hard to hold it in though. And I think it was it Todd Lewis maybe? And you could tell he just wanted to get out of there because he didn't want to kind of let it go. I looked it up. It was Kevin Na Greenbrier 2018.
Okay.
What about Dustin Johnson without words all at Augusta?
Yeah. I just
That
brought
was
that
really
up
cool.
off air, and then I forgot it in the
I
last
know.
4 minutes.
That's where I thought you were going, and then I thought Coach was going to be like, "Oh, you forgot Dustin Johnson. You forgot Jordan Spieth."
I didn't want to take his thunder. I thought he was going there. I really did.
That was a good one.
It was impactful for me because it was so surprising. I
Yeah.
didn't know we were going to see that version of Dustin Johnson. So I was caught off guard, which is why it was cool.
So funny story about that. I was in the I don't know if I should say this, but I'll say it anyway. I was in the member pro shop. I was walking by and just kind of wandered over there, and I watched that interview with DJ with Abraham Answer standing right next to me watching it.
Wow. Wow.
He had just shot like 77 on Sunday or whatever, 74. It wasn't great. But he was picking up a bunch of stuff on his way out of town, and we were watching it together, and it was just like it was kind of a never forget where you're at, like golf moment, not life moment, but certainly in the golf world. And yeah, that was a really good one.
That'll be the last time you're allowed to do that, because I'm sure this will get to Augusta. Someone will be forwarding the link here.
There was nobody there. There was like 300 people there.
I will say this, that when I worked for the first time at Augusta, I was working for Augusta, not ESPN. And so my pass allowed me to get in there, and I felt like I was trespassing when I walked in there. I felt like I shouldn't be in here. And they have
crazy.
a lot cooler things in there than they do in the normal tent.
Yes.
So that's all we'll say about that.
I'll get us back on track so you guys don't lose any credential opportunities here. The first, these playoffs are, while you're in, you can still make a big move, Coach, because they just crank up the FedEx Cup points, right? So this week and next week are so even more critical. So we went from, not only in the last couple of years have we gone from 4 events to 3, but adding the staggered start to the Tour Championship means that your positioning after the 2 playoff events, the first 2, is critically important, because you're not making up 10 shots. You're not making up 10 shots on the best players in the world. These 2 events are just absolutely, like we call Saturday moving day. These are like moving weeks. You got to position yourself.
They finally got it right. They finally got the playoffs right. And I'm not saying that they couldn't tweak a little bit here and there, but that was the big complaint about people, was once the 30 players get to the Tour Championships and all the perks that come with it, and there are a lot that we don't talk about very often, but it is lucrative to get there, and not just from a financial standpoint, but now with the staggered start. And if you're like, I believe it's 22 through 30, you're a full 10 back to start the tournament. So you cannot wait. And I think we'll get into the fact we used to see, and I think this is a direct result of this new rule. But remember, we used to see when there was 4 events, you'd routinely have 5, 6, 7 players that would take an event off because it didn't matter to them when it went 125, 70, 30, and then in. And I think now, because of this, that most players, not all clearly, but most understand how important these 2 weeks are, and you got to get after it. And if you have a great first week, then you can compound that with a second week. It's really, really important.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, Coach, because KP, what could have I mean, these guys play a lot down the stretch to try to get into the playoffs, and then to have 4 playoff events in a row, they're thinking, man, I should find an event to take a week off here, because I don't want to have to play 7 or 8. I know I might miss out on points opportunities, but at least I can come back fresh. And it became this battle. I mean, we would see guys kind of juggle this decision. There's one guy we're going to get to here in a second we'll talk about, but I think compacting the playoffs removes a lot of that decision-making process.
Yeah, I mean, 3 is way better than 4, and it also makes the 3 that they play more meaningful, because you don't have the cut from. I mean, 125 to 100 was just like, okay, what are we doing?
Why are
like,
we here?
what is that's like nothing. But you go 125 to 70 to 30, and it's like, okay, this is they removed 1, but it feels like the impact was far beyond that. Like the impact of how much more meaningful the playoffs are. And then I think the other thing that I was kind of researching. So we've only been doing this for 2 years now. 2019 was the first, and then 2020. And the guys, here's an interesting number. The guys that won, so there's been 4 non-tour championships right? There's been 2 just
okay.
like the Northern Trust and BMW, Northern Trust BMW. So they've done that twice. The 4 guys that won those, I think it was Reed, JT, DJ, and somebody that I'm forgetting. They made a collective like $23 million at the Tour Championship. And what happens is what you mentioned earlier, you win one of these, you're going to be number 1 or number 2 basically going into the next week, whichever, especially this week, going into the second week of the playoffs. You're going to be first or second. Nobody's really going to have an opportunity to stay ahead of you. And then you get to that Tour Championship, like Coach mentioned, and all of a sudden you're 8 up on Sebastian Munoz. Well, good luck, Sebastian Munoz. You know, that's the margins are thin. And so you give a guy an 8-stroke lead and it's like, well, this is, what are we doing? You know, I'm playing for $1 million, not the 15 million. So all that to say, like, winning has an even greater incentive in these first 2 weeks than it did before because of how much is at stake for having, one of those leads at the Tour Championship.
Which is why, Coach, I thought it was surprising that Louis Oosthuizen opted out of this week. The only golfer in the field, he obviously will not be replaced because you have to qualify for this event. So we are rolling with 124. And I didn't see any reason behind it. So it could be literally any reason. But he's currently 8th in the FedEx Cup standings. There is going to be an opportunity cost for this.
Let me preface this by kind of doubling down on what you just said. I don't know if there is a more serious issue than what we know. So if there is, then I apologize for what I'm about to say. But you cannot, and this is why Louis Oosthuizen has the reputation that he has, being a great golfer, top 10 machine, cannot win on the PGA Tour. Doesn't have the killer mentality. Doesn't have what it takes when he gets in front to get the job done. Well, when you sit out an event in the playoffs, after you just nearly won at the Open, you flew back and played at the 3M, but yet you're going to sit out of a playoff event, but you played the 3M after flying from Europe straight to the United States? What could possibly be the reason that you would sit out a playoff event after playing the events you did in the last month? It makes no sense, especially when you're in a position to win the $15 million. He's in a great position. If he has 1 good week, 2 average weeks, he'll be 3rd, 4th, 5th, and right there. But now it's a very good chance he falls down to whatever, 15, 20. He's going to fall. I just don't understand it. And it goes back to the killer mentality. Do you want to win the biggest prizes at the biggest moments? And this screams, no, he does not.
It's got to be injury, though, right? Because he's played more than almost any. And to your point, Coach, like, he did fly back for the 3M. Like, I refuse to believe that somebody who does that is not playing the Northern Trust for anything other than injury.
So when he withdrew from the Wyndham, he withdrew from the Wyndham on Wednesday, and I think he cited a neck. It's got to be that. Like, it has to be. Otherwise, because you're right, he's played a ton, and he's played well, and this is one of your most valuable spots.
It's got to be. It's got to be. And again, if it is the injury, then I'll take everything back that I said. But when you don't play, you have to say that. You can't just not say that. And then all of these award-winning shows like ours, well, there's not a show like so any show that talks about it is going to speculate like what we are doing. You got to get a reason.
With Louis' departure, creates an interesting return. Not that Louis' departure creates this, but Jon Rahm is back, baby. Jon Rahm, KP, the first time we have seen him since the Open Championship, and it is well documented. You tweeted this out. I don't remember the exact number, but he has lost to like 11 combined guys in 4 starts, and 3 of those have been major championships. He is he's the best player on the planet. I don't think there's any argument.
He is. I've got the numbers right here. I tweeted this out yesterday. He's lost to 15 golfers in his last 5 events. 3 of those were majors. He lost to 7 at the PGA. He lost to nobody at the US Open, and he lost to 2 at the Open Championship. He's got 10 top 10s in 15 events this year. That's stupid. He's gaining 3.6 strokes per round in his last 20 rounds. Spieth is second at 2.7. He's almost think about that. He's almost a stroke better than the second best guy over their last 20 rounds.
Which is probably like the same gap between Spieth in second and like the guy 17 or something like that. Like he's probably lapping the field.
I think it was outside the top 10. Yes, to your point, Spieth and whoever was third, or excuse me, whoever he was 0.9 better than.
Right. That guy.
And then he's gaining over 3 strokes per round from tee to green in his last. That's a better than Tiger in his prime like number. Now, again, that's only his last 5 tournaments. So that's a huge caveat. Tiger did it for entire seasons, multiple seasons. But I think that people don't understand. I think, and this happens with certain guys. It happened with DJ at the end of last year. It's like, oh, DJ, Rory, JT, like let's lump them all together. It's like, no, DJ is set apart right now. He is different right now. And that's where Rahm is at, is he's operating on a different planet than everyone else. And I think what's going to be interesting is after we haven't seen him since the Open. We didn't see him at the Olympics. We didn't see him at Memphis. We haven't seen him in, what is that, over a month, really? And can he maintain that level? I think he can. And I think we'll talk about this later. I think you're getting some value because we haven't seen him. And so I think bookmakers are a little bit like, I don't know. But I think there's value to be had there because he's not at a Tiger number to win this week. He's a little bit longer than that, which I think creates some value given how well he's played over the last 2 or 3 months.
Well, I'll even go further than that, Coach, because I like the idea of how long is this sustainable? Because we have seen guys do this. Dustin Johnson, as Kyle mentioned, at the end of last year. Jason Day was able to do it for about 15 months or something like that, right? It's just, it's always a big question of when you are this much better than everybody else, based on the eye test, based on the statistical analysis, how long can you keep that going? And how long can you keep that magic in the bottle, so to speak? It's a fascinating thing that we're going to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, I do want to point out I have somebody who's on site at the Northern Trust just texted me watching the show actually and said it is a neck injury for Louis Oosthuizen. So that is indeed the reason he's not playing this week. Just got the text just now. So thank you for that.
Breaking news. How about that? Live on the site.
Yeah, people are watching, which is really cool. So thank you for that. All right, so back to Jon Rahm for a second. Here's the thing that I worry about, because of the fact that he had 2 bouts with COVID. And even if it's mild symptoms, anybody that we've talked to, even if they're vaccinated or not, it takes a little bit out of them. He came back, played pretty well, but still made some silly Jon Rahm mistakes. Right before the Open of the Scottish Open, he was in position to win, and then was never really a part of that on Sunday. I think now the fact that he's off for another month, yes, the numbers are staggering. And I think, to KP's point, when I really evaluated all the numbers on different guys, it looks like the books said, you know what, let's put all of the big names at a more chewable number, and then a lot of people will bet on them instead of 3 or 4 guys up here like what we normally have every week, then everybody else below. I think there's a ton of value across the board, but I don't think the value on Jon Rahm, they put it at just a number that you could try it, but I just don't think he's going to play that well this week because of what he's done and what he hasn't done, which is play.
We'll see. Jon Rahm is a absolutely fascinating golfer for this weekend, for the foreseeable future. Gentlemen, we're going to get to our picks in a second, but there will be a familiar face on the course at Liberty National. It'll be Joe LaCava, and he will be carrying a bag. And that bag that he will be carrying is Patrick Cantlay's. So, KP, here's what happened here. Patrick Cantlay's caddy, Matt Minister, is out because of COVID-19. So Cantlay reached out to Joe LaCava. LaCava, of course, ran this by one Tiger Woods, got the okay, and we're going to see LaCava on the bag for Patrick Cantlay this week. Very interesting situation.
I was actually wondering what is the line of communication there in terms of, like, does Cantlay have to ask Tiger for, like, how does stuff like that play out, right? Because
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Coach. I have no idea. I was just thinking about, like, how would that even go down?
I'm really good friends. Me and Joe LaCava live 15 minutes apart in Connecticut. Okay, we played a ton of golf together, And I know for a fact this is true. I don't know about this situation, but I know Joe's as loyal to Tiger as there is. Tiger's been trying to get him to go on other bags for years, and Joey never would never do it. And I know for a fact that back when Tiger's bag opened up, Joey had to go through 4 other people to get to Tiger so it wouldn't get back to DJ that he was looking to get on Tiger's bag. 4 people call Tiger. That's a true story that I got from Joe himself, that it took, he was that scared that DJ was going to find out. And he was on DJ's bag just for a cup of coffee. But I think this is a very different situation. I think because Tiger's trying to get him out, I bet Joey didn't have to ask him, but he probably did, because that's how Joe LaCava is. He's one of the most stand-up dudes ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say the quote from LaCava here, apparently smiling, but basically answering the question before he even knows it's coming, said, "I ran it by Tiger first." As expected. I don't think we thought anything different. It would be breaking news or it would be a big story if you didn't. Right. But it's always funny how this stuff works.
It's such a hard position for him because Tiger doesn't even know what's going to happen with Tiger, and you always give up you're giving up the reward of the 19 Masters, being on the bag for that. And that's a if you ever leave or go do something else like that, you're giving up that opportunity. But you're like, am I ever going to caddy for this dude again? Like, it's an impossible spot. And maybe he looks at it like, hey, maybe Tiger looks at it like this. Hey, we had the 19 Masters. That was like the last summit. Like, that was indescribable, like the very best thing. And maybe they'll, both move on or whatever. But it's just, you kind of feel bad for him to be in it's just a hard spot to be in. Yeah.
It's basically just, so if you're Joe LaCava, week by week, I think, and Jacobs let us know this, and I remember, he went on Fred Couples' bag a bit for the Champions Tour, which I think Tiger and Fred are great friends and all that stuff. But it is kind of weird that, like, okay, Tiger's not playing, but like, and out of loyalty, Joe doesn't want to work. So it's like, I'll, loan you out here, loan you out there, come on back. It's just a very strange situation.
The whole thing is incredibly strange. His loyalty to Tiger is, I think, unmatched in sports.
Yes.
We went to a Hootie and the Blowfish concert a couple of years ago. His wife was sitting next to me while Joe was back drinking with Hootie, because Tiger's good friends with him. I'm good friends with him. And his wife was telling me how different their lives had been for the last several years, because for 20 some odd years, Joey was gone for over half the year. So we don't think about those types of things and how the different lives change based off of who can play, who can't play, and who, and he wanted to stay home and wait for Tiger. And I cannot believe this is back in 2013. I've got so many Joe LaCava stories. They're all so much fun. And the time that he described a shot for me, because I never thought I'd play with him after the first time. So I had him describe a shot for me from the middle of the fairway, just like he would do for Tiger.
Nice.
He didn't even miss a beat. And he says, all right, we got 115 here. You don't want to go to the left, because it was one of the most amazing moments of my life.
I think that this is totally a tangent, but I think caddying for Tiger would be, I think he would be easier than people think it is, because Tiger is, he already knows everything. He's in total control. He knows what he wants to do. And you don't, like, you're not out there for, it's not like, what's his name? Sung Jae playing 37 weeks a year. You're playing 15 weeks a year. I was talking to somebody one time, and I won't say who, but it was about another American player. And this person who knows this player said, so-and-so just really likes Tiger because you know what you're getting. It might not be like the most, he's not like the most warm-hearted, like gregarious guy, but he's straightforward. Like, you know what you're getting. And I think that from that standpoint, caddying for him, and getting a front row seat to, the best ever would be, people think it would be very demanding and Bryson is demanding and difficult. Tiger, it would be hard and there would be a lot of pressure, but I don't think it would be as demanding and difficult as people think.
No.
That's interesting.
No.
I like that. I think that's a good take.
Do you agree, Coach?
I completely agree. What the demanding part of the relationship is when Tiger is flying back and he gets something in his mind, he makes Joe stay to go out and work with him in the backyard. They don't have to go to the backyard. That's demanding, and that's happened several times where he'll say, "Hey, Joey, I need you to stay," because he usually flies to Florida and then catches a commercial flight back to Connecticut is what they normally do. And also the perks is the jet's so big, he has his own PlayStation station on the plane when he's flying, and Tiger plays on his own PlayStation so they can play against each other.
Of course.
That's a true story. That's how nice the plane is. So, yeah, there's a lot of perks. There's a lot of demands. But they are very, very, very close. I mean, they're legit friends. It's not just player caddy. They're legit friends. And it's a cool relationship that I've gotten to see up close from Joe's side of it for the last 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love it. Dual PlayStations, drinking with Hootie backstage. I wonder what Hootie drinks backstage. Any chance that it's Arnold Palmer spiked? Because it is really the most refreshing drink available. I actually
impressive.
Think you've got to be careful. These things are smooth. They go down nice and easy. It is real tea and the perfect blend of lemonade for all those laid back weekends. You can find Arnold Palmer Spiked in a store near you at arnoldpalmerspiked.com/first or search for it on Drizzly and Instacart. That's arnoldpalmerspiked.com/first. 2021 Hornell Brewing Company, Memphis, Tennessee, malt beverage with natural flavor. Celebrate responsibly. Okay, gentlemen, we've got our betting cards and our one and done to roll through. So let's kick it off here. KP, why don't we just pull up your betting card?
Oh,
yeah,
let's go first.
Yeah, let's
Never
switch it up.
Happens.
I know. I just got to keep you honest here. Make sure you're paying attention. We're going to pull up Kyle's betting card, and Kyle, to your credit, you are wiping the floor with us. So don't do anything crazy over the final 2 weeks in which you can blow this lead. Just keep it nice and safe here. You have one matchup and you have 3 top 20s. Here's the matchup. Let's start with this one. Harris English, even money over Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at 4 of their last 4 common events. Harris has beaten him 3 of the 4 times, straight up, including the U.S. Open, which Bryson led after 63 holes. And I think combine that with what happened at Memphis, I think those two, and I could be wrong about this, I think those 2 guys will respond very differently to what happened on the back 9 at Memphis. I think Harris English going into this tournament saying, like, I have something to prove. I have a Ryder Cup team to play for. And I think Bryson is kind of just beaten down by the whole thing. We don't need to make this a Bryson thing, but combine those 2 things together, and that's why I like Harris English over Bryson here.
Those New York faithful, Coach, I can't imagine are going to give Bryson the week off on the Brooksy stuff. I think he's going to hear it. Shocked
that there are not odds on whether or not Bryson goes off on a fan. Photographer.
I'll say odds right now. Minus 175.
That's a lock. Hey, that's our best bet. Add that to the screen. It's going to be. Bryson needs to understand that sometimes you just got to take it, and you got to take it, grin, bear it, shut up, and move on down the fairway. And this is one of those weeks. These fans are going to be brutal, and he needs to be ready for it.
I agree. Coach, KP, back to you. Your 3 top 20s. 1, Hideki Matsuyama. 2, Sergio Garcia. And your best bet, 1, Rory McIlroy, plus 110.
Yeah, Rory, top 20 in 7 of 8 regular PGA Tour events this year. So that's non-majors, non-players. He just top 20s at PGA Tour stops. Like, that's just what he does. And I think this is it's kind of long for him, right? Xander's shorter. There's several other guys that are a lot shorter, and he's coming off, a WGC, which everybody was at except for Rahm. and he finished T12 after a horrible first round. Like if you give him enough runway, he's gonna finish in the top 20. So Sergio, he's been just living like right around T21, T18 for the last 6 events. And he's just flushing it. I mean, he's been awesome from tee to green. Just let your caddy putt for you, whatever. And then Hideki, I think this is a little longer than it should be because he missed the cut last week, but I don't care that he missed the cut because he was 1 stroke out of making it. And if he makes it, I think he probably top 10s with the way he was hitting it. Right. So again, it's just get me to the weekend. And I think Hideki's somebody that rises into that top 20.
Hideki Matsuyama, top 20, plus 160. Sergio Garcia, top 20, plus 300. Rory McIlroy, I mentioned, plus 110 to finish inside the top 20. That is Kyle Porter's best bet, and that is his betting card. There's a couple similarities here, so let's pull up my card next because Kyle's best bet is Rory McIlroy. I've got a lot of love for Rory McIlroy here. So here is my card. Is this my card? Yeah, this is my card. I guess I must have omitted. I bet Rory McIlroy to win this. But I left.
The other thing is he finished T6 in 2019 at this event.
The Rory McIlroy stuff. Okay, not to get all nerded out on you, but he has gained in aggregate like over 25 strokes on approach in his last 6. This is like he's only done that 2 other times in his career. And it's been in stretches that eventually go to like multiple wins and top 5. Like this is it. This is the blueprint for him right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I bet this number.
Last 6 tournaments or rounds?
Measured tournaments.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes. I went with 2 top 10s. Webb Simpson plus 350, Ian Poulter plus 700. And coach, Webb Simpson was great last week, finished 1 shot out of the playoff. And then Ian Poulter is just gearing towards this Ryder Cup. He finished 10th here 2 years ago at Liberty National, finished 10th in Memphis. The last time we saw him, I'm just like, let's go. Plus 350 on Webb, plus 700 on Poulter.
Everybody has different motivation outside of money. And for Ian Poulter, it is the Ryder Cup. That's what he lives and breathes. And he understands this will probably be the last time that he's even in contention to make the Ryder Cup team if they decide to take him. Because you give him 2 more years, he's in his 40s. There's a lot of good young players. So I think that motivation makes this a great, great pick. He's also been very quiet, which is un-Ian Poulter-like, and just been sailing under the radar. So I like this pick.
2 matchups round out my betting card. One is Adam Scott over Patrick Reed. I just think Adam Scott's got a lot to play for. He struck it beautifully last week, and he started to figure out the putter recently. And then, coach, I went with Daniel Berger over Patrick Cantlay, who is, for me, Berger is a well-rounded golfer at a place that, I think you're going to need to have all facets of your game in check. So I went with Berger over Cantlay.
Yeah, full disclosure, we have over on our little show called The Early Edge. You guys might have heard of it. We have a thing called the Sports Line Showdown. When one of us disagrees with the other one, we challenge them to a real money bet, and I did with this one. I do not like Berger over Cantlay, so me and you have a cool C-note riding this week, which I'm excited about.
And I'm not sure that's enough because over here, we bet a case of Arnold Palmer spiked on disagreements. So, coach, I would like to up the ante just a little bit further. Daniel Berger, you've got Patrick Cantlay, $100 and a case of Arnold Palmer spiked.
Done!
Book it. Let's go. All right, coach, let's go to your betting card, please.
How much is a case of Arnold Palmer spiked?
Oh, well,
it could be over $100.
It could be over $100.
No, it is very reasonably priced, Kyle. It is about $15.99 if you have the Albertsons store card, I think.
Albertsons. Wow. Okay.
What about the pavilions?
Unbelievable.
I think they're the same thing.
I think so.
Oh, coach. Okay, we got a lot going on here. How about this?
Oh my gosh, this looks like one of my cards.
No, it's not a lot. I think he just added names that are in the groups. That's why it looks like a lot.
It's just he saved it so we know who else was in this group. So here we go. So a couple of matchups. Scotty Scheffler is your best bet over Victor Hovland. Abraham Answer over Webb Simpson, and Cam Smith over Joaquin Niemann.
Scheffler, I think, is playing great. And last year, different course, but still shot a 59 at this event, different course. I just think Victor Hovland is just, I think he's young, and I think he's new to this. And I just think Scheffler's better right now, just right now. And then Answer, he just won 2 weeks ago. I'm not a believer in Webb this week. I'm just not. Maybe it's my recency bias that he cost me a 7-way parlay on Saturday as I hit the first 6 and then he triples 14. Maybe, just maybe I'm a little bitter.
I think yes.
I think so. I haven't hit a 7 ever. It would have been my first ever 7-way parlay. And then Cameron Smith, he's been playing great, absolutely playing great. Nearly broke the record 2 weeks ago with 93 putts. I think the record 92. He had 93. So he's putting it great. And I just think right now he's better than Joaquin Niemann.
You back up your Scotty Scheffler matchup bet with Scotty Scheffler top 5. That pays out at plus 650. And then you went to Jordan Spieth to finish inside the top 10 plus 175, Coach.
People forget that when he was down in the doldrums 2 years ago, he had a couple of performances that were pretty good. One of them was at this event. So now he's in form at a course that he played well at 2 years ago. So I love him top 10 at that number. And then Scheffler, I've got to pay him respect because last year at this event, I called his 59. It was incredibly exciting. The same day DJ should have shot a 55. But I have to say that Scheffler, top 5 plus 650. I just think there's a lot of value in that number with him.
Cameron Smith, you back up again to win Group D. That's at Caesars. It's plus 333. It's Smith over Niemann, Reed, Connors, Finau, and Sam Burns out of Group D. And then you went with Hideki Matsuyama off the miscut. Love it. Top Asian player at plus 190.
It's my guy. And right now you got Sung J M and Siwoo Kim. They're still going, wait, what happened at the Olympics? And Siwoo last week make it into the playoffs. But I think he regresses in the CT Pan and KH Lee. So the Hideki route to cash is much easier than the Cameron Smith route to cash. Hence, you see from the numbers. But I like both a lot.
There you go. That's Coach's betting card, which leaves us with only one more thing to do here, gentlemen. That is the one and done. 3 weeks to go. This week. Next week, the Tour Championship, in which we have created a wild structure and we are using the starting strokes. So we are in the home stretch here. And Coach, hopefully this is one of the last few times that I start with you. You are at $5 million. Yeah, JT posted last week. Goose Egg, you were not alone in that category. Who are you going with this week?
I believe, and I looked through my book, I think I still have Patrick Cantlay to play. I don't think I've used him yet. And if I haven't, I'm good. I'll take Patrick Cantlay. I've got a new system for when we really get serious in September, but I'm not going to reveal that yet. I'm going to stick with Cantlay for right now.
You don't have to reveal it, but will it involve Sepp Straka in any way? You have 3 events to go, and you have not used Patrick Cantlay, and you've used Sepp Straka.
I will
never get old.
Ever live that down.
No.
Ever.
No, you won't.
Live that down. Hard to believe. But it's
I mean, you could have been. It could have been redeemed if he had hung on to that first round lead at the Olympics. You could have said, "I used Sepp Straka in a year in which he won."
Yes.
Don't think I did not have a tweet ready to fire, and then he shot a 70 whatever. Ooh.
Keep it in the drafts. Maybe we'll win something.
Yeah, I'll take Cantlay.
Jacob, Brian Harmon last week, 0. Again, you were not alone. You were at 5.6 million. I'm not sure there's enough money left for you, but let's finish strong here.
Yeah, Brian Harmon was icky to say the least. And just Coach sort of teasing us about next year. I'm really curious about that, especially the system that he's got in place. I don't know what it is. Yeah. We're handing over power. We're going to see what that looks like.
Transfer of power.
Transfer of power, yeah.
It's going to be fun, and actually it's going to mean something, and not this fictional bragging rights. We're a gambling show.
Bragging rights.
Fictional money. What's that? That will change.
Do we? I got a question about this week. Do we get to see Mark's pick before he goes, or does he just get to see all of ours?
I have Mark's pick in a sealed envelope. Okay. I can give mine out, and then after you, we'll have Mark's pick. I made sure he got it in, and he's listening right now. So
yes, he is.
My pick this week, enough delay. I still have Rory McIlroy on the board, so I'm gonna take the McRib this week. I mean, maybe I'm not burning him at Eastlake. Maybe that's a mistake, but whatever. We'll take him this week if all the metrics seem to point to him.
Rory McIlroy for producer Jacob. Kyle Porter, 8.4 million, 1.5 million off the lead. You had Johnny Vegas last week, 91,000, which is 91,000 more than most of us got. And I think you have bullets left here, don't you? Who are you going with?
I got an AK-47 worth of bullets left.
Oh my gosh.
The problem is I don't know what order to use them in, and I don't want to. I'm far enough back that I have to use them in a different order than the people ahead of me use them. And I know that Greg and Rick's probably playing Rick might be playing Chess and Hadley this week, but I know Greg.
I'd be thrilled to play Chess and Hadley this week.
That got coached pretty good. I know Greg and Mark have at least some of the guys that I have left. I think I'm going to Rory. My plan was to save him for the Tour Championship, but I really like him this week, and I think that I can hold on to DJ for the Tour Championship because I think Mark is playing either Rory or Jay. I want to be different than what they do, so I'll go Rory this week. I'm with producer Jacob.
Rory and producer Jacob both on Rory. Kyle and producer Jacob both on Rory McIlroy. $800,000 gap to Mark at 9.2. And Jacob, is this a real sealed envelope or is this like a frozen envelope? Like
this is a text message that he sent to me. He's going with Harris English.
Harris English.
Harry English.
That is actually great news for me, actually. Okay. Harris English for Mark, 9.2 million. I'm at 9.7 million. I have my golfers. I have my 3 golfers remaining. I have them identified. I am trying to play this game of whoever will be in the best situation at the Tour Championship. That's what I'm unveiling. And I've got 2 guys that will be vying for that spot. So this week, Cam Smith. Cam Smith is my golfer. And then I've got two okay shots left for the Tour Championship. That's right.
But the big question here is, did Jacob's cat just step on his computer to shut him out of the
that's
screen?
Birdie. Look, Birdie wants an appearance. Say something, Birdie.
Say something, Birdie. Star of the show. Birdie's getting more comments over here than anybody else is.
Well, he should maybe let Birdie do his one and dones next year after the way this season's going.
I took myself off the screen so you guys didn't have cat butt, just right in the middle of the camera.
We appreciate that. Okay, that leaves.
I love getting coached. That's so good.
That leaves Greg left 9.9 million, and Jacob. I don't think we have Greg's pick.
I don't have Greg's pick.
What?
Of course.
This is shameful. This is shameful.
That's what's going.
That's messed up.
He's playing tactics.
He's in the lead with 3 events to go. He called me 7 minutes before we went hot. I know he's out there thinking about his picks.
Zero.
What is first place this week, Jacob? Do we know? 1.8?
That's not right.
They're all like between 1.5 and 1 point or 2.0, and then the
1.7
is like 2 point. Yeah, 1 point, and then 2.2 I think is a tour.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't just sit out and not put it in.
Except we're making the tour like 17, right?
Ours is actually so our Tour Championship win is going to be 3.6.
Wow.
Dang. Second is going to be 2.2. Third is going to be 1.2, and fourth is going to be about $1 million. So there's going to be $4 million payouts.
Wow. I could shock the world. Mathematically, I could still win this whole thing.
1.7, 3.6, 5.3.
That would be sweet.
You technically could.
Should I am I doing the right thing here, Rick? Should I go Rory this week and then figure out the JT DJ? The other thing I'm worried about, Rory's 26th in the standings right now. So if he misses the cut this week, I've got a big problem.
The dirty little secret is there is too much value in the Tour Championship. You basically have to take whoever is going to be in the best position. So I think, and this is kind of what I did with Cam Smith, if you get Rory this week and for whatever reason he wins, It stinks that you don't get to use him for the Tour Championship, but you got him here. You got the money. You got the money for it. Now you have to save. So I've got 2 guys that I've got to save, and I've got to just figure out which one's gonna. There's a huge advantage to the starting strokes. With the starting strokes, there's only like 5 guys who can win the tournament, and with our payouts, you have to have those guys.
Yeah.
Look at Kyle's like, oh damn. Like, that didn't help me at all.
It's a great point because you want to use the guy. I mean, I said it off the top. The guys that have won the first 2 events have won a combined 23 mil at the Tour Championship. It was DJ, Rahm, JT, and Patrick Reed, and they all finished in the top, whatever, 5 or 9 or whatever at the Tour Championship. So I don't know. Yeah, I'll stick with Rory, but I don't feel great about it.
I think you have to. And it's razor thin between those guys, but with the way the FedEx Cup points are working and we're using the strokes, I think you have to.
Yeah.
Hey Rick, there's somebody, a Mike in the comment section wants odds on me shocking the world and coming back and winning this thing.
So you have to win. You have to win. You have to win all 3. So that'll give you 5 points. You have like 7 million available to you. But even if you win all 3 and Greg wins 1 and gets a decent finish, you still wouldn't win. So the odds of you doing that, let's just say each one of your guys are 10-1 to win. What's that? 10 times 10 is 100 to 1, is 1,000 to 1, and there's no way you have 3 10-1 winners. So it's probably much deeper than that. 10,000 or 50,000.
It's a long shot. It's a long shot.
Yeah.
But hey, chip in a chair, baby. Chip in a chair. Let's go.
Chip in a chair. Let's go. This you can't win them all without winning this one, Coach. So good luck to you. That'll do it. Our mega preview pod for this week's Northern Trust, which is the first leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Producer Jacob and Birdie doing all the hard work behind the scenes. Thank you very much. That right there, it's the coach. You can find him on Twitter at The Coach Rules. Kyle Porter, who you can find at Kyle Porter CBS, and you can find me at RickRunGood. This has been the first cut, and we'll catch you next time